Story 1. My brother got free parking for pretty much his entire time at university. It was that golden period when the pay parking kiosks were able to accept credit cards, but before they were actually connected. They would read a card and check it against a locally stored list of band numbers, and once a month the meter maid would download the transactions, process them, and update the blacklist. My brother found that they would accept those prepaid gift cards if they were backed by Visa or MasterCard, but couldn't check the available balance. So he would buy one, use the balance up on whatever, then use the card for parking until the end of the month when it would get processed, found to not have funds, and banned. Rinse and repeat. The guy saved probably $2,500 over his degree. Story 2. In university, I didn't have my own printer. I had to swipe my student ID to pay to print anything on the library's printer. It charged something like 10 cents per page. I would go and select the document name off the touchscreen, then swipe my card, and it would print as well as charge my account. I discovered that if I gave my document a really long name, the computer didn't know what to do with it. So instead of going to the queue, it just bypassed the pay screen entirely and printed. Story 3. Discovered that my high school physical education teacher graded on improvement. You took a skills test at the beginning of each unit, then one at the end of the unit, and your grade was based on how much you improved. I was not the most gifted athletically, always got C's in physical education before this, so I would tank the opening test, then perform my usual mediocrity at the end, but my improvement was awesome, and I became an A student the last semester of high school physical education. Story 4. Not mine, but many years ago, a woman was attending college in Texas and paying out-of-state tuition. She found out that if you were a business owner in the state, you could get in-state tuition. She spent a few bucks to file for a business and saved a lot. Story 5. There was a drink machine in college that was 75 cents for a juice. If you put $1 in, it gave you 5 quarters in change. I got a juice every day for months before they finally fixed it. Story 6. I didn't find this loophole myself, but my friend did. A few years back, an online store had this promotion where whoever spent the most money over a month would get free round-trip airplane tickets to anywhere in the world. My friend, who is a genius, found that one thing you could buy on the site was a gift certificate. So he bought a $25 gift certificate and kept spending it on another $25 gift certificate. He ended up spending $25 on round-trip tickets to Australia. Story 7. The local radio always has a contest where you call when they play the same artist back-to-back so you can win a prize. Then I learned they had a Now Playing and Up Next feature on their website. My girlfriend at that time would start calling in before the second song even came on. She won a ton of prizes, including laptops. Story 8. Parking at the hospital. The payment machine was not working. So I drove to the barrier and pressed the button to speak to the attendant or security. A few seconds later, without any words being exchanged, the barrier opened. This was early on in my dad's hospital stay of about 9 months. I did not try paying again, just pressed the button at the exit barrier. Story 9. Back when soda companies had promotions on the undersides of bottle caps, I could tilt the bottles just right to find winners. During many promotions, I paid for one initial bottle of soda, won a get a free bottle promotion, and then continually searched and found those, never having to pay for a soda. Story 10. The ball machine at the driving range would give you a bucket of balls and your token back if you put enough backspin on the token when inserting it. Basically, I could go to the range for free whenever I wanted. Story 11. Free cable TV. Once, I lived on a property with 2 homes sharing the same mailbox and address. One month, I got behind on my cable bill, and when they came out to disconnect my service, they disconnected my neighbor's service instead. The neighbors soon called to ask if my service was out, and I said no. There was a big football game that day they had planned to watch, and they were disappointed. A friend of theirs, who worked for a different cable company, was visiting and asked my permission to splice a cable between the 2 houses so they could get service from mine, and I agreed. It took him about 20 minutes, and they were back in business in time to watch their game. Once I figured out the reason for the original disconnect, I explained it to my neighbors, who then stopped paying their cable bill on purpose. The cable company sent out a bucket truck, only to discover that their cable was already disconnected and went away satisfied. We then had free cable in both houses for the next 3 years that I lived there, with both of us having been officially disconnected. Story 12. They caught on pretty quickly, but a few years back, I managed to purchase some buy one get one free meals from Tesco that were also yellow stickered. The system hadn't been updated to remove the offer, which meant I ended up effectively being paid to take the food home. For example, I bought 2 ready meals that were originally priced at £2 each. Normally, they would have cost £2 total with the buy one get one free offer, but since they were further reduced to something like 40p each, the full promotion still applied. When I scanned them, the total came to 80p, but the system also refunded me £2. Story 13. This was completely unintentional, but still a hilarious loophole. I wanted to cosplay Lois Lane at a local convention. I printed up a Daily Planet press badge with a picture of the actress who played Lois Lane in the Smallville TV show. I copied Lois's outfit in the Superman animated series and had a friend with me dressed as Jimmy Olsen. We went around interviewing cosplayers as a bit, which got a lot of chuckles, and we met some cool folks. Some DC Comics cosplayers even tracked us down to get pictures. However, completely by accident, we walked past a panel room with a sign that said, "Press only." A board staff member was by the door. When he saw us, he waved us in. We were giggling but decided, forget it. Let's go. The panel room was where the convention guests and celebrities were answering press questions and promoting upcoming projects before doing meet and greets and the like. We ended up spending most of the day in that room listening to Peter Dinklage, Alan Tudyk, and a bunch of other people chat about what they were currently working on. We didn't ask any questions because we didn't want to get caught, but it was a lot of fun. Would do again. Story 14. I have over 26 gigabytes of free storage in my Dropbox account. Not sure if it still works this way, but about 15 years ago they would give you 500 megabytes of space for each sign-up you referred, up to 50 referrals. But they had to actually install and activate the client for you to get the credit. I set up a little Linux virtual machine and created a save point with just a browser and an unactivated Dropbox client install in it. Then I used a bunch of throwaway emails to send a lot of referrals. For each one, I would boot the virtual machine, process the next referral in the list, then shut the virtual machine down and change its MAC address. Rinse and repeat. As long as the MAC address changed, Dropbox saw each one as a separate thing. I probably could have automated it, but I got the process down pretty well, so I just spent an evening working through them while watching basketball or something. Took a couple of hours total. Story 15, we figured out that on our country's biggest website for takeout food, if you go all the way to the payment screen, then click the back button on the browser, not the website, enter a tip for the driver, and then proceed with the process, you only pay the tip and the order still gets delivered. We did this twice and then the glitch was patched. Story 16. There was a lottery at a town fair, and you would walk up to a table to check if you won anything. It was full of prizes gifted by local businesses for charity. Every prize was pre-linked to a ticket with a list. When I handed mine over, the lady said with a big smile the big prize wasn't gone yet while she checked our numbers. I guess she shared this bit of information because most of the prizes were already gone at that point. It was an all-inclusive holiday in Ibiza. I figured because the table was already almost empty, there couldn't be that many tickets left either. I went back to the ticket booth to buy all the remaining tickets and said, "You're very welcome," to the ticket seller who thanked me extensively for my generosity. I went on holiday to Ibiza with my wife, then girlfriend, that summer for $140. Story 17. When I was in high school, I applied for a summer job with the county. As part of the unbiased application process, each applicant was asked to take an intelligence test. The test consisted of about 80 questions. Each question had 4 or 5 line drawings, and you had to put an X in the box next to the one that didn't belong. Pretty easy. I happened to notice, though, that the test paper was 2-part, which is 2 sheets of paper attached together back-to-back with a sheet of carbon paper in between. I could peel the sheets apart and look inside. The second sheet just had a bunch of boxes printed on it, and I could see from the first few questions that I'd answered that the excess I'd marked ended up in the printed boxes on the second sheet thanks to the carbon paper. So I did all of the questions with obvious answers, and if I was unsure, I just peeled the paper apart, noted where the box was printed on the second sheet, and made sure I got it right. Of course, I got 100%. I figure that if you can cheat on an intelligence test, you're pretty smart. Story 18. In college, the local Buffalo Wild Wings would give out 6 free wings if you completed their online survey. I found out they didn't really put a limit on how many times you could do it, and I just so happened to work during the time that the cafeteria was open for Sunday dinner. I had Buffalo Wild Wings nearly every Sunday because I would get 6 free wings and something else. I was severely disappointed when I came back the next year and the deal was gone. Story 19. I had 2 loopholes that I routinely exploit at work, and I recommend them to my employees, though none have the discipline. It allows me to take 1 month of vacation each year instead of just 2 weeks. Loophole 1. All overtime will be matched with paid time off or paid vacation time. Loophole 2. Clocking in 5 minutes early and clocking out 5 minutes late will count as overtime but does not require manager approval. By clocking in 5 minutes early to start my shift, clocking out 5 minutes late for lunch, clocking in 5 minutes early to come back from lunch, and clocking out 5 minutes late at the end of the shift, I earned 20 minutes of paid overtime and 20 minutes of vacation time each day I worked. Each year, we get 80 hours of paid time off, but with my scheme, I get an extra 83 hours and 20 minutes. And that's not counting any extra paid time off I received when asked to work overtime. Story 20. I can't remember when it happened, but it was years ago. I think it was Nestia or some other canned tea, but if you bought a case of tea, then there was a coupon on the box for a free case. Except it was on every case, so now you have case 2 and another free case coupon. All the tea could be had. Story 21. My high school had a rule that banned you from attending prom if you went to a Saturday detention that semester. I got in trouble and was assigned to Saturday detention, but my girlfriend really wanted to go to prom. I just kept skipping it, and they kept adding more until they rolled it into a day of actual suspension. They had no rule barring you from prom for an out-of-school suspension, so I got a day off and took my girlfriend to prom. Story 22. This is no longer relevant, but it saved me hundreds and probably thousands of dollars. In 1998, I bought a digital cell phone from American Telephone and Telegraph that only had 90 minutes of talk time per month. The representative at the store told me that to save on my minutes, I could forward my number to my home phone and I wouldn't be charged minutes. I asked what would happen if I forwarded to a different area code, and he told me that there is still no charge. Back in the 90s, long distance was very expensive by the minute. So I discovered that I could call my girlfriend, who was an hour away and technically long distance, by just forwarding my number to her number and calling my own cell phone. There was no charge for this talk time because it was a local call for me. I would get 10-page phone bills and would show $0 for every single one of those calls. I was 18 years old, and we spoke every day, and it didn't cost me a dime. Story 23. Working in a call center for a large phone company, clicking your mouse very quickly on the screen caused it to go into a mode where it looks like you are waiting for a call as normal, but you will never have a call come through. Some kid figured it out, and the trick spread to many people and was kept secret from management. We passed it down to others as we onboard them if they were deemed trustworthy. Story 24. In one town I lived in, parking tickets were cheaper than paying for parking, cost nothing against your license, and the area I parked in had a satellite office right where I parked where I could pay the ticket right away. It wasn't even that common to get a ticket. Story 25. There is a vending machine in the staff room at my job, and it's a complete annoyance. Food often gets stuck, especially the bags of chips. If this happens, the machine does at least automatically refund the money if you paid by card. So you just buy another item, use it to knock the first one down, and boom, 2 for 1. This machine is staff only, but none of the items are cheaper because of it. They're actually more expensive than the public machines. It has also stolen many people's coins over the years, so I don't feel bad for occasionally getting a free bag of chips. Story 26. There was a shuffle you could do on the McDonald's self-serve screens where you'd add a cheeseburger and take all the toppings off. They'd refund a bit for every topping, and you'd be left with a negative 10 cents at the end. Do it like 50 times and you got a free meal. We did it once or twice to get a free drink in summer before they changed it. Story 27. My brother once yelled, "Last one to jump in the pool is gay," and then jumped into the pool. However, I figured out that if I did not jump in, then technically he would be the last one in the pool and he is still gay to this day. Story 28. Are there any pay phones around anywhere anymore? A long time ago, I was using a payphone when there was a blackout. The electricity came back on within 5 minutes. The phone started dumping all the change into the coin return space. I must have gotten $4 to $5. It was 1978, so $4 to $5 was more then. I promptly drove to every other payphone I could find. It was a good day.